Hello everyone, welcome to a special interview brought to you by the Teacher Surgery. We are really pleased. I'm really excited. The young girl in me is screaming inside because we have UKG legend Maxwell D with us.
Thank you for having me still.
Thank you for joining us, Maxwell. We are like, I'm so like inside. So I'm trying, like my fangirl inside is trying to say down. I'm trying to say down, Kelly, down. But really excited to have you here. And like, you know what? You're inspirational. You got an inspirational story, and I know we're going to go into more of that as we talk today. But you know, I'm really keen to know what was you like as a young man. What was the young Maxwell like?
That's a crazy question. And the reason why it's a crazy question is because I'll say that I've been through so much as a young kid that it just, I don't know, I don't think I've got enough time. But I would start where, you know, I grew up. I would say single parent family because, you know, my dad was young. My parents had me young. Like my mum was 15 when she had me. So she was still a kid.
Yeah.
You know, my dad wasn't much older, like about 16. So they were kids. So I'm not upset with my dad for not really being around because he was just a kid trying to figure it out himself. But with my mum, yeah, I saw a lot. You know, you see a lot with a 15-year-old, you know, so it was challenging. My childhood was challenging. So I ended up in foster care to, you know, seeing a lot of stuff, you know, witnessing domestic violence from my mum and stuff like that. So my childhood was crazy. So I say that music was a big part of it. Influence off the back of my dad because he was a well-known popular DJ, so I kind of followed in that musical steps to become a musician and stuff. But as a child, I was bad. I was rebelling, and I think I was rebelling because I saw a lot.
Yeah.
So when you see a lot as a young child, you there's no censors, you know. So there's no censors, no one to censor you. Like no, it was just raw, you know. So by the time I was a teenager, yeah, me and my boys were bunking at my house, and we're looking to smoke cannabis. Like we're too ahead of our time, and that growth when you're seeing that as a young child and you're growing up faster than your time, you get caught up. You know what I'm saying? So and then you're not understanding and being able to process the emotion and feelings of what's really happening around you. So where I might see my mum with my stepdad, for instance, and then witnessing that domestic, you know, violence, and then another guy comes in the picture and whatever, and you might just want to take it out on the street then, innit? So I'm mad at home, but I'm gonna go beat up someone outside just because I might have had a bad morning, so they're gonna have a bad day. So that kind of behavior. So I kind of, So I could go on forever, but yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
And we could listen forever. We could listen forever.
My childhood took me to so many different points of me understanding. I didn't understand at the time, but now I'm older and I can articulate it a bit like much easier and break it down for people, because when you are on that side of the fence and you turn your life around to be on the other side of the fence, you can identify straight away what was going on and why you was in that position, and understanding the tools that I had. I didn't really have the great tools, so I was left with survival mode.
Yeah.
And then when you're left with survival mode as a kid, you're gonna come up with all sorts of problems and trials and tribulations, and that is what I experienced as a young kid. So when someone says to me, what's your childhood like? There's lots of emotions. There's like fun, there's like hurt, there's pain, there's upset, there's like real sad moments. Like real like, whoa, like like that's what was going on in your household. But at the same time, made the most of it, you know, made the most of poverty, made the most of loads of stuff that like, I'm sure a lot of people can relate to. But yeah, it was a fun childhood. But I think my childhood, for me, I developed early than most kids. Yeah. I think that's what my childhood was like, yeah.
And then you become an adult way earlier than you
I was looking after
be.
my sisters and my brothers. I'm 14 years older than my brother, but I was looking after my sisters like constantly. Like, I was the babysitter. Yeah. But that wasn't a case of, I think that was the case because I was mature for my age. My mum knew I could handle it. I ain't gonna burn down the house. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, there ain't gonna be no, it's gonna be, I knew that licks were coming for the house burning down. I'd rather just, you know, just
do it, keep it in order.
Because the house get burnt down, the licks afterwards, if I made it, it's just not worth it. It just can't bother add it up. So yeah, I was very responsible like that.
And I think we've all had those experiences where we've had to be like the babysitter for younger siblings.
Yeah.
And my sister will absolutely say, she raised me 100%.
Yeah, no, we done our thing, man.
Maxwell, you talked about your dad, you touched on him briefly today. He was a big DJ, and I wanted to ask you, what made you say, I want to go into music? What was that? What was the trigger to go, I've got
say
talent?
that as I think from the age of like 10, I obviously always know my dad. Going and seeing my dad on a 6 weeks holiday would be going to stay with him and my stepmom at the time. And, you know, she had her children. And obviously he'll have his room with his records, his 7 inches, and he'll just be constantly playing music. And I'll get to know the records by the labels, the artists, and then we watch the stage shows. And so I just started dreaming. You know, you're looking at these celebrities that come on, the Ninja Mans, and it's just the energy in the crowd. And I was like, oh, that's love. But you're not realizing that the lack of love that you're not experiencing. You're looking at the actual television thinking, oh, the crowd are giving this one person so much love. Then you might flip on the TV, you might see Diddy in these shiny suits, and you know what I'm saying? The music was just like, for me, it was just like, wow. So my dad, watching him play music galore, that's when I believed, like, he started saying, come on, I'm taking you to a party, you can select the tunes for me, because I knew the records off by heart. So that was automatically invited into, I knew the artists, I knew the label it was produced, I knew the production, I knew what artists to play on that rhythm back to back. Okay. I was really alert at the age of like 15, 14. So it was always inevitable. And in our culture in the UK at the time, we had jungle, drum and bass music, and it was like jungle. So I could identify the dancehall element of my culture, because my parents are Jamaican. Well, my grandparents are Jamaican, they're like the second. So I'm this, would that make me the second? Yeah, second generation? No, yeah, it is second. So through the basis of the UK culture being jungle, drum and bass, I automatically identified in that. And where I was a little rebel, I was always out on the street a lot. So being on the street a lot, you're always in the latest culture, with the latest trainers, the fashion, the whatever. So everything was designer, and my parents couldn't afford no designer. So, you know, you get caught up in the teething world and that world and the raving world and then the club culture. And in the club culture, I'm in the club and I'm looking at, you know, my young 15, 16-year-old self looking at MCs like Steve Hyper D, and I'm like, I want to be like that. That's what I want to do. So it was just that one little dream. That's what I want to do. I didn't even rave that much. I just go there, scope my man out. Okay, yeah, shut that one down. Oh, did you see the reload? I would, like, where people be there dancing, and I was already a fan of the music, of just music in general. So when I saw the love from the crowd, that's what made me want to become who I am today. Yeah, definitely.
You sound like you were a student of the game.
100%.
Of the culture.
100%.
And that brings us on to a question I wanted to ask you. You've been around in music since you were about 16.
Well, 14, I say, yeah.
Wow, that's a long, long time. Yeah. I'm not going to tell anyone your age.
No, you can. I'm proud of my age, because you know why? And it's funny,
as well.
Because when I'm with the kids and I'm in the schools and I'm teaching and stuff like that, as soon as I say my age, they're like, no, sir, you're lying. And I'm like, okay, I'm lying.
I must look good.
I'm like,
I must look good.
If I'm the new age cool teacher, then hell, yeah, I'm like, yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it, man. I'm happy. I'm 43. I'll take it.
And do you know what I say? I'm 40 as well, so I'm in the crew as well.
You're in the 40 gang.
Yeah, gang. But I say people don't have to live to be any age, so celebrate every age. Do you
know, I believe this is, someone said to me the other day, it's your experiences that make you your age, like where you are in your life. So my experiences where you could be so experienced but really a young person.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You could be like 25 but gone through so much that's giving you an extra 10 years of your life. So that's what I say.
I agree, I like that. Mm-hmm. Maxwell, what do you think? What have been the trends that you've seen in the last 10 years? Where's the shift been in the culture?
That's a good question. Starting from, I saw the dancehall element as growing. No. House parties as christenings.
Yes.
I'll go there because I got 4 decades. So say that the christening situations I used to go to used to be hand. What was it? The reggae, a lot of reggae, but lovers rock.
Yeah.
You know, lovers rock and R&B, little stuff like that. But as the dancehall element shifted in the late 80s, early 90s, as a 6, 7-year-old, growing up, 8-year-old, growing up, going into my 10 and 12, I'm looking at the dancehall element as, that's the shift of the culture. So everybody was wearing bulletproof vest jeans, bleached up garms, like Saracenos, and that was like the fashion culture within the music.
Yeah.
And then as we got into the years trickled down, we got into the jungle drum and bass era, then we all started wearing these crazy off-key like patterns and Mosh and
Designer
Versace
stuff,
and Italian designers and Valentinos, and then as I see it moved on, it was weird because it's like the American culture had another shift. Then we all started wearing baby farms and, you know, like the Sean Johns and like that element and Air Force Ones and, you know, what was that? Oh, what was that thing I used to wear? I used to wear some funny stuff, but yeah, I wouldn't wear it now. But yeah, the velour tracksuits and stuff like that. And then we spun off again. And when that was going on, I would say that the culture for me was basically like grime and stuff like that. Garage was the suits and the blazers, and say that the grime era, we come into the velour tracksuits and that. And the generations just kept on pushing. So I'm just thinking, when do I stop? Because it's been so many changes within the culture, and I've actually witnessed a lot of them. So asking someone like me that question, we could be here all day, because I've seen a lot of culture.
Do you know what I want to touch on quickly, because I know we're running out of time. I know you've done lots of work in prisons.
Yes.
Engaging young men that who are in prisons to look at, what is it, is it crime into grime? Yeah,
that's what the newspaper said. Yeah, the Daily Mail, they caught wind of it. They wrote about it, gave me a splash in there. They tried to do some other clickbait stuff, which they tried to actually bring up my conviction of when I went to prison and say, yeah, this X blah, blah, blah is doing now. And I wasn't having it. I got on the phone to my journalist friends and I was like, no, that needs to be cleared up, because sometimes they would try to do that to people in our community. And I'm like, yeah, it's nice that they're writing about prison workshops and stuff, but at the same time, the clickbait don't say that. The clickbait is just like negative. So I had to clear that up, and then we got a proper story with the Daily Mail, and that's when it was like, okay, you know, he swapped crime for grime. Like,
okay, cool.
Right. So the workshops was something I started a couple of years ago. It's a case where I got into a few prisons and then COVID hit, which is a bit of a sad, and then like bouncing back out of COVID, I kind of customized our workshop more to universities and schools and stuff like that. So I also do talks, mentoring, and I'm also in schools as a teacher as well, music teacher, like, you know, so,
okay,
and a music tutor as well.
In schools, teaching young people, and is this the same
GCSEs,
program?
A-levels, yeah, I'm on it.
So how many schools are you in?
At the moment, I'm just in one school, but I do change schools to school. I'm in an agency. Workshops. Yeah, no, I actually teach as a teacher in school as well.
Oh,
so
amazing.
because I need the experience in it. So the experience is really important for me. So for me, it was like, get in there, see what it really feels like to be a teacher like Monday to Friday, and see what it's like. And it's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
And I've been in a lot of schools, PRUs, you know, SEN schools, like alternative provision, everything you can think of, mainstream. Like I've done the little circuit, so I'm like, now this is what's going on behind the closed doors. Okay, so that's what's been happening for me.
I know we're gonna run out of time. They're gonna say it's time. Can I just say,
sure.
What would, if you could give a message to the young people that are watching here today, at home, on their phones, on the bus, in bed, at school? I don't think they're allowed to have phones at school.
No, they're not.
No.
No, we confiscate them.
Yes. But in colleges, I heard that they might be okay. Yeah. What would you tell a young person out there? Right now? Yeah. I'd say information. Information of what's going on in the world. It's a tricky one, because I want to say stuff that might not coincide with the norm of today. And the reason why I say that is because we're so boxed into living our lives a certain way. Sure. And if you start speaking out of the box a certain way, people look at you a bit funny. But the truth of it is that they just got to just keep your eyes open, and trust yourselves, you know, follow your dreams, save your money, you know, understand about options. You know, we always just put our eggs in one basket. And I feel that a lot of kids, you know, they might not know what they want to do yet. Yeah. So there's no stress within that as well. Like some people don't know what they want to do. So I just want people to just live their lives, enjoy it. Be a child.
do not be an adult yet.
Yeah.
I can give you so much more advice, but I think I'll just leave it with that. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Maxwell, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I had a feeling it was going to be...
I'm glad that you had. I hope you had a nice time. It was lovely having that conversation with you. Guys, thank you so much for joining us for another edition of the Teacher Surgery, a special interview, and massive thank you to Maxwell D. And I just think he just shared such an inspirational insight into life, and I hope that helps and you can shape some kind of thought process in your head. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon on our next edition of the Teacher Surgery.